Let me tell you something. A story I never imagined I'd speak out loud. The day my family gathered in the lawyer's office, I felt like the world had turned its back on me. The room was cold and quiet, the clock ticking loudly. My children sat across from me, their expressions unreadable. My eldest son leaned back in his chair and said, "Mom shouldn't expect anything. Dad never trusted her with money anyway." His wife smirked. My middle son didn't look at me. My daughter looked down, embarrassed. I just sat quietly, my hands folded, holding on to the small hope that maybe, this time, truth would speak louder than lies. The lawyer cleared his throat. "Your father's will is ready to be read." He opened the envelope slowly, almost ceremoniously. I could feel my heart pounding. 42 years of marriage, 42 years of sacrifices, love, patience. And this is the moment where the world decides what I deserve. The children whispered to each other. None expected the truth, and perhaps that was exactly why it would sting so much. The lawyer's voice rang in the room. "All assets, properties, and savings have been left to your mother." Silence, shock, anger, disbelief. My eldest son slammed his fist. My daughter gasped. My middle son's face turned red with fury. And me? I sat quietly, letting the weight of 42 years settle on my shoulders. Not proud, not vengeful, just ready. Because that day, my child, I learned one thing: dignity cannot be stolen. And the story I'm about to tell you will show you how respect can come in the most unexpected way. I wasn't born into wealth. My childhood home was small, simple, and full of lessons. My mother taught me that dignity is more valuable than gold. My father believed that endurance was strength, that suffering silently is better than complaining. When I married your father, I carried those lessons with me. He was a kind man, hardworking, but traditional. Money decisions were his alone. I cooked, cleaned, raised our children, and quietly tucked away my own dreams into a small wooden box. I told myself I didn't need more than love and respect. Every morning I woke before dawn to get the children ready, packed their lunches, ironed their uniforms, cooked their breakfast. Every night I waited for your father to return, served him dinner, smiled through fatigue, and convinced myself that love was endurance. But endurance is silent suffering when no one notices, when no one appreciates the sacrifices, when your children grow up assuming everything you do is just duty. It becomes a wound that festers quietly. Then came the day your father fell ill. What once was ordinary became extraordinary. Suddenly the house felt fragile. The man who had carried the weight of our world struggled to lift a glass of water. And suddenly, I became indispensable. He wanted me by his side, not the children, not relatives, just me. And in that quiet, I realized that loyalty and patience are often invisible until the moment when they are tested in ways you cannot imagine. The illness was slow. At first, it was just a cough, then fatigue, hospital visits, pills, procedures. The strong man who had carried sacks of wheat, repaired roofs, and built our home struggled to lift his hands. For the first time in decades, he needed me entirely. Not help with chores, not advice, not comfort from children, just me beside him. One evening, he took my hand, weak and trembling, and whispered, "I was unfair to you. I made you small in a house you built." I could feel the years of silent endurance fall from my shoulders. But I didn't cry. "Not yet," he continued. "I've seen the children argue over things that are not even theirs yet. Promise me you will stay strong when the time comes." I nodded, unsure what he meant, but understanding that a legacy is not only in property, but in truth, patience, and respect. 2 months later, he was gone. The house was empty, quiet, lonely, but a seed had been planted. The knowledge that when the moment came, I had to be strong. Strong enough not for me, but for the memory of a life we built together, for the dignity of decades of sacrifice. I wasn't prepared for what would come next, but I had been trained for it my entire life. The day of the will reading, my children walked into the lawyer's office confident, almost smug. I entered quietly, carrying my husband's glasses in my bag. My hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from anticipation. My eldest son said, "Let's get this over with. We already know Dad left the house to me." His wife added, "Yes, and all the money accounts to us." She never handled finances anyway. The lawyer looked at all of us, took a deep breath, and slowly began. "Your father's entire estate, the house, savings, and properties, have been left to his wife. Time froze. Shock, disbelief, anger. My eldest son slammed his fist. My daughter gasped. My middle son's face turned crimson with rage. And me? I sat quietly, steady, letting the truth settle. He writes here. My wife stood beside me when no one else did. Everything I have belongs to her. I didn't gloat. I didn't smile. I simply nodded. 42 years of devotion, of sacrifice, of invisible labor. Finally acknowledged. It was not vengeance. It was not cruelty. It was recognition. And yet the aftermath, the whispers, the anger, the disbelief, had only just begun. The days following the reading were tense. My eldest son refused to speak. My middle son avoided my gaze. My daughter whispered to her friends about my luck, but avoided my presence. I stayed silent. Sometimes silence is stronger than words. It shields dignity better than any argument. One evening, my eldest son knocked at the door. His posture was defeated, his pride gone. "Mom, we misjudged you." "I misjudged you," he said quietly, eyes filled with tears. He had finally realized what respect, patience, and endurance mean. I took his hand and said softly, "Your father didn't give me everything." He gave me back my voice. Slowly, one by one, the children came to understand. One by one, they apologized. One by one, they acknowledged the years of quiet strength. The estate had been divided fairly, but the greatest inheritance was respect, recognition, and truth. Sometimes life gives you justice not through wealth, but through awareness, the key, awakening of hearts that misunderstood you for decades. I did not keep the estate for myself. I divided it fairly among the children, but I kept one thing, the small wooden box where I had tucked my dreams, and the will inside it, a reminder of my strength, patience, and dignity. Because true victory is not in possessions, it is in standing tall when the world doubts you. True justice does not always arrive with punishment. Sometimes it comes quietly, through patience, endurance, and truth. And that, my child, is why even after betrayal, humiliation, and doubt, I walked away with my head held high. 42 years of service, sacrifice, and silent strength. Recognized, respected, finally, my voice heard.